Big Sil's National Football Show. Appreciate you coming aboard. I posted a picture over on my Twitter page of me and Raheem Morris. I love Raheem Morris. He's the defensive coordinator of the Los Angeles Rams, and I thought he prematurely got the head coaching job with the Buccaneers. And we formed a wonderful relationship, and I heard that he saved a kid's life in Vegas, and it doesn't shock me. He's from the Lovie Smith, Tony Dungy, Herm Edwards school, Mike Tomlin. All those guys were on the Buck coaching staff when all those guys were there. It doesn't shock me. Really great guy. And I posted a picture of Raheem Morris and I at Leroy Selman's restaurant when he was in Tampa. I think it was 2011. And it's I've told some of you the story on how our relationship started. And I think John Gruden was fired. And then they hired Raheem. And I was doing a remote. And I remember, some of you, I've said this to. I held this up right in front of him. And there were people everywhere. And I go, do you know what this is? And he goes, yeah, no, what? I go, this is your resume. There's nothing on it. How did you get the head coaching job at the Buccaneers? He's like, he just shook his head. And I said, did you think you were getting fired when you went into the Glazer's office? He goes, I did. Instead, they gave you the head coaching job? And he goes, yeah. He goes, what would you have done? I said, I'd have taken that job, and there's not a chance in hell I wouldn't have taken the job. You create generational wealth for you. You're a head coach in National Football League. Absolutely took the job. Me and him ended up having lunch every Tuesday at the Capitol Grill in Tampa. And we would sit there and just talk about things. And he would ask me, dude, how many times he asked me to join his coaching staff? He goes, what do you think? I go, well, I think your roster right now, and Mark Dominic doesn't want to hear this, but you don't have a very good roster. That roster is out of gas. And he's like, I can't tell him that. And I go, I know you can't, because I told him that. Mark Dominic sat me down at the same Capitol Grill, gave me the same thing I'm doing with you that he did with me. And I read off what I thought of his team. There was some guy, they had a guy from Clemson. Hey, Yale, I forget the guy that they drafted from Clemson. He ended up passing away, God forbid. And then there was another kid from UCLA that blew his hamstrings out. Mark Dominic drafted all these guys. And I used to get hammered in Tampa because, hey, just like with you guys don't like everything I say about your birds. Well, I was on the flagship station of the Buccaneers doing 10 shares, and I was saying shit like this. This general manager and everyone that works in that scouting department belong at a library. They're bookworms. They're not football people. That guy ended up being 25 and 55 as a general manager of the Bucs. And somehow he's on TV portraying himself like he built the team that won the Super Bowl. That was Rich McKay, and that was Jerry Angelo, and that was all them guys. There was a guy that was up in Seattle, too, that went up there. They had a really great front office, the Bucs. They had the best of everything going on. Tony built that team. He just couldn't get it across the finish line. And I went like this to Mark Dominic. I go, you picked these guys? He goes, yeah. I go, I already immediately knew that we weren't going to have, that's it, Gaines Adams. He goes like this. We drafted Gaines Adams in the first round. What do you make of him? I go, he's a lollipop. He's not tough. He's not good. He doesn't engage. His hands are terrible. He can't set the edge. He goes, we're high on him. I'm like, I'm sure you are. Boy, my relationship with the Bucs today is 10 times better. You know why? Because I'm not broadcasting in Tampa. The reason I'm not in Tampa is because Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as much as we love each other now, don't want me there. because they don't want me telling the truth. I used to tell the truth every morning. That's why I had high numbers. I'm not in Tampa, not because of iHeart. I'm not in Tampa because of the Bucks. They don't want me talking. Especially when I had friends on Wall Street talking about when they bought Manchester United. Okay? When they bought Manchester United, they were taking resources from the Buccaneers and putting it into Man U. And I reported that because somebody on Wall Street from Shearson Lehman told me. I got suspended for it. I got suspended for. I actually showed them the facts. I go, well, here, look. The stock is down 62%. Manchester United. And why did they go to China to get the bonds to purchase the team? Why couldn't they go to Wall Street? They had to go to China or Japan, I think it was. Somewhere in Asia. They had to go and get the bonds to buy Manchester United. The Glazer family. And the Glazers hated it. Google it. False report. Yeah, well, it wasn't a false report because initially they first tried to buy the Dodgers from the O'Malley family. Then Fox bought it. Just I'm not in Tampa because, well, so Dominic and those guys were like, so you don't like this roster? I go, no, there's not one redeeming quality on this roster right now. You got an aging Warwick done. Mike Allstott is starting to run out of gas. I go, Joe Jurevicius is okay, but now you got him in a different system now. You don't have him in Gruden's system. In Gruden's system, Joe Jurevicius was good. Okay? He was good. In Raheem Morris's system, he was terrible. So, yeah. That's how that whole thing worked out. That's why for me, again, being on the radio never happened. You're not putting me on WIP. You kidding? Do you actually you don't have this kind of sports talk in Philly? Truthful. Or at least, how about this? With an opinion, at least. You don't have that. Everyone's kissing someone's ass. All right. Let's go to the offense now. And let's go here. We're probably going to sweep the top of the hour, Tone. Raheem had a system. I don't know. Hey. I don't know. You know what? I love Raheem now. I do. Me and him had I was disappointed. You know what? And he deserves another opportunity to be a head coach. How about that? You'll give all these other guys opportunities to become coach after coach after coach, Matt Nagy and all these guys. And you get all of these. Dude, how does Dennis Allen get a job before Raheem Morris? By the way, Raheem Morris was the defensive coordinator on a Super Bowl winning Rams team. He didn't get one sniff of a job offer. He didn't get one sniff of a job offer, nor has he. And when he got the job, he was too young. I mean, dude, when he had that job in 2011, I mean, look how long ago that is. You mean to tell me that guy hasn't built enough equity up to at least get some sniffs to thinking that he could possibly be a candidate to be a head coach? How does Dennis Allen get that Saints job? I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I have great respect. Okay, I have great respect for Raheem. Okay, let's do the offense here. And I'm going to start at the right tackle position and not at the quarterback. And what we've done, we've already gone through the defense, the Eagles depth chart, and this is my evaluation of what I want to see. And this is what I think and where they are today. And hopefully as their preparation comes and gets better for the upcoming season, this is kind of what I'm looking at where they are right now, what they need to continue to do. Lane Johnson, nothing. Nothing. Do you know how many times I say that about a player? Very seldom. There's always something to work on. What would I say? What would be his weakness? Great feet, great hands, patient as hell. I hate he plays right tackle. That's a preference, though. His skill's exceptional. Like, getting around him, impossible. Great range, can slide his feet out wide, can take 7s and 9s on techniques, takes the quick inside move on well, drives you into the pile, protects the back door, the quarterback, and the front door. It's just a really great player. Jesus, best player on the Eagles. Stay healthy. Yeah. Lane Johnson's the best. And by the way, Jason Peters and him. Man. Jason Peters, I would want him a little lighter. Played left tackle too. God, those are great football players. Man, just exceptional. Exceptional. Best player in your team is Lane Johnson. Right guard. Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen. This is going to be interesting because both players, hey, who do you think has more of an upper hand in this position? Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen, or Jack Driscoll? Because there's a transition here. And what I mean by the transition is this. Well, these guys have to go play guard now. It's not their natural position. You're basically teaching something. What I tell you, when you moved me to nose guard, not the easiest thing to do. You play a new position when you're in junior football or your freshman year of college. You don't slide over to a new position. And guard and center are like Jupiter and Mars. Completely different techniques, completely different mentality. Everything, right guard, left guard is different. So there's a transition. The real benefit for all three of those players is that you have an exceptional coach and you got two Hall of Famers on each side of these guys, which is going to be a great classroom for who ends up winning this. I know the sentiment is Cam Jurgens. You know, the one thing about Tyler Steen, I don't think he's very physical. He's a big dude, though. But when you think of Alabama offensive linemen that were kind of like road graders, he ain't it. Watch him on film. He's more of a finesse guy. You know, it's funny. When I watch finesse guys come into the NFL, I will tell you this. They seemingly early have more success. Why? Well, to be a finesse player, you got to have patience. Okay? You have to have patience. And so being aggressive at that right guard position, I don't know if I want an aggressive guy. My money's on Tyler Steen winning that job. Because to me, when you're a finesse guy, played in a great system at Alabama, threw the ball around, you had patience. Jurgens looks like a very aggressive guy. You cannot be a leaner in this league. So there's going to be a transition. Lane Johnson said he loves Tyler Steen. He's a big dude. By the way, you put Tyler Steen, correct me if I'm wrong, you put Tyler Steen in that offensive line, and I think he's going to win the job. Okay? I think he's going to win the job, Tyler Steen. So you got a 6'8" left tackle, a 6'5" right guard, a 6'3" center, A 6'6" right guard and a 6'5" right tackle. Dude, that's like the Great Wall of China. That is some large human beings. 370, 350, 300, 340, 335. Those are big dudes. Those are big. Hey, Jay. And guess what you do when you have a guy like that back there? You know, one thing I worry about with Jurgens, because he's not the tallest guy either. You can kind of see Jalen back there. When you got a guy like Tyler Steen back there, it's like having Barry Sanders back there. You got those large walls of dudes and that humanity of man. And you're a defensive guy. Sometimes it's hard to locate the running backs and the quarterbacks because you got like 100 feet worth of men. I mean, these guys are enormous. So to me, I'm leaning towards the big dude and the guy with the better feet. Okay, remember something. The closer you get inside, you got to have really great feet because you got a lot of traffic at your feet. Jurgens is 6'3". This guy's 6'6". I don't know. Okay. Now, Jalen, too, being not the tallest guy, he'll probably do what Russell Wilson does. He'll do, instead of a 7-step, a 9-step. Okay, he'll probably be in that route. But my money's on Tyler Steen winning that job. I don't think Cam Jurgens wins that job. I think he's here. What happens when you get a guy that's really aggressive? He leans. I'll give you guys a quick story here. Mark Stepnoski. You guys remember Mark Stepnoski? Mark Stepnoski was a guard at Pittsburgh, and I played against him at Pitt. Mark was about 6'2", and he couldn't play offensive guard in the NFL at 6'2". You're 6'2", like 275. Okay, something like that. That's way too small to be a guard, even during my time. So they moved him to center. And you know what he did? He was so aggressive, all you did was knock him out of the way. He tried lunging at you. And Cam Jurgens looks like a lunger to me. You got to be way paid. Dude, when you watch Kelsey play the center position, here, how about this? Lane is the best player on the team. Kelsey's the most technically sound guy on the team. He is just snapping the ball, scoop and slip, edge, setting the line. His flat steps to get up to the linebacker are exceptional. It's textbook. His feet are textbook. Like, he must practice that in his backyard. He must practice that. I haven't even got, well, here we are. So I think the kid Steen wins. Kelsey, to me, health, another guy, along with Johnson, health. Man, Kelsey's hands are strong, slipping and scooping, chipping, second level, energy. And by the way, you know how motivating that is to see a center at the third level in games and he's down the field blocking? You're watching that. And by the way, you're a D lineman and you're watching a center blocking a safety down the field at the third level. That means he took the nose on the linebacker, he chipped him so that the backside guard can get him, and he's up on the safety. Shit, dude. You know how many centers can't get to the second level, let alone the third level? That is, it's a privilege to watch it. It's a privilege to watch it. Landon Dickerson, health, patience. Got to stay healthy. Been nicked up a little bit, okay? And patience. He's aggressive. And he can get that. He gives you his inside shoulder sometimes. Reggie White would shake that guy's change out of his pocket if he gave him that shoulder. Or Jerome. Or even maybe Jalen Carter. You give that shoulder up to some of these elite defensive tackles, they'll shake the change out of you. Don't give a shoulder up. And what happens is a guy, they'll lunge like this, and they'll give a shoulder up, they'll take that thing, rip that down, swim right over or rip under. Or power move you in. Can't do that shit. He gets aggressive. I love the kid. I think he's Pro Football Focus doesn't have him. Actually, it has Sayamalo ranked ahead of him. I don't subscribe to that. I don't. Landon's 330. I'd like to see him around 320. 10 pounds lighter wouldn't hurt him. He's an aggressive. The left side of your offensive line is very aggressive. Very aggressive. Okay? Jordan Mailata, of all the players, you know what's funny? Both your tackles are not true big guys. And what I mean by that is they are huge guys. Wasn't Lane a quarterback or something? And Dickerson was a rugby player. These guys had completely different mentalities and passions for other positions and other sports. What's that mean? These guys are athletes. Your bookends are athletes. First and foremost, they're athletes. Like, watch this. Jason Peters is not the athlete that Mailata and Lane are. Okay? He's not the athlete. These two guys are tremendous athletes. You could see it in their feet. And, hey, how much of an athlete do you think you have to be to make $15, $16 million and you never played pro football 5 years ago? Have you ever tied that in? Lane regularly talks about fighting to keep his weight on because he was a naturally smaller guy. Think about how great of an athlete Jordan Mailata is. So this guy just decided to pick up being a surgeon one day 5 years ago, and he's a surgeon? I mean, like, all of a sudden he just decided to be a baseball player. And now he's one of the top baseball players in the league, and he's making the top money. That's what he did. I heard stories. Jeff Stoutland said that this guy couldn't even put a chin strap on. Slide your feet, work a 7 technique, and this guy couldn't put a helmet on? He didn't know how to put his shoulder pads on. Dude. Stay in the play. And what I mean by that for Jordan Mailata, stay in the play. If you get beat on that first play, don't give up on it. He has a tendency to get beat on the second move. Stay in the play. Keep battling. I'm not saying he's quitting. I'm saying that he needs to improve his technique a little more on the second move. There's a lot of effort guys out there now. And effort guys are playing a lot in the NFL, like the kid in Kansas City that played at Purdue. He's an effort guy. Aiden Hutchinson, he's an effort guy. Effort guys could give him trouble because if you beat him on the first initial move, Jordan, because of his lack of knowledge of the game, that's what this comes down to. Just not working the knowledge of the game because he has only played a few years. Okay? Just keep working the technique. Keep getting better. It just makes common sense. The reason that he gets beat on the second move, he hasn't played the position long enough. It's not a rip. It's just reps. This guy here is going to get so good, okay? He is going to be a superstar football player. Just a superstar. Superstar player. Dallas Goedert. Health, hands. Dude, I love everything about this guy. Size, strength, has a nose for the end zone. He's physical when he catches the ball. He's looking to score every freaking time. He's great at blocking linebackers, but he'll drop 1 out of every 3 passes. Got to improve. I don't get that jug gun out there, catch 1,000 passes, just like Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson and Larry Bird would take 1,000 shots. You got to take as many of those passes when no one's around, and you have got to improve your hands. And he's already exceptional. He could be the best tight end in National Football League if he continues to improve his hands. For him, this guy here, it's health and hands. Okay? If he keeps himself healthy and he improves his hands, he could be the best tight end in the NFL. Okay? Quez, just get better. Here's a problem that I have with the Eagles here and their mentality at this third wideout position. Let me ask you this. It's the most underutilized position on the football field for the Eagles, defensively and offensively. Why is that? How many corners how many teams do you think in the NFL have two great corners on it? What would you say? How many teams do you think have two great corners? Just get better. That's hilarious. Hey, wait a minute. But think about it. I'm going to show you where I'm going with this. Okay? What it's the most underutilized position on the Eagle offense. Why is that? Do you know how many teams don't have one good corner? I mean, okay, so you think, JM, there's maybe 5 teams that have good corners. 5 teams. Think of that. You get nothing out of WR3. You put a skilled guy at WR3, you're going to have that guy running wild in that offense with all those stars on it. Why not have a competent guy in that? Now, I get that you use Quez as the only reason that Quez Watkins is WR3 right now is because of his speed. And you have to game plan that if you're a coordinator. That's the only reason that you do that. Okay? But you're getting nothing out of that position production-wise. Getting nothing out of it. WR2, Devontae Smith. He doesn't have his NFL body yet. I would say for him, it's more of a physical thing. Get your NFL body. His route running is precise. He runs a 14-yard route. Ins and outs, slants, posts, seams. His route running, his hands are way above average. I would say one thing that when he's working the sideline, know a little bit where you are more on the sideline, but that's going to come with more reps and more games. Did he get better from year one? Absolutely. And I think having AJ over on the other side showed him how to work the space. You know who was horrible at that? Chad Johnson. Chad Johnson ran awful routes, didn't know where he was half the time on the field. And that's why when he went to New England, he never played. They hated his route running. He didn't know how to deal with the spacing. He wasn't a smart player. Is it about greatness or money now? It used to be about greatness. I think the ones that you have, look, I think there's a bunch of guys on the Eagle team that want to win. I do. I think there's a bunch of guys that like winning. Winning's become contagious. You see, the Philadelphia Eagles right now, they have a disease. That organization has caught a virus. The virus is called winning. And it's contagious. Like any other virus. Everyone's infected with it. And they feel it. That's why most times after a Super Bowl loss, this is the only team I've seen in a long time. Just keep the momentum going and actually pick up the momentum. Okay? Their only cure is winning the Super Bowl trophy. That's going to be the only cure. Actually, more like kryptonite, because you never know what you get after you win that trophy. As 17's team fell apart. Organization fell apart. Imagine that. Think about that for a second as we move on here. The organization of the Philadelphia Eagles fell apart with success. And the Philadelphia Eagles, with the failure in Super Bowl 58, are getting better. They're learning more from what has happened now and probably 17. And they're applying it both. Okay? A.J. Brown. WR1. This is what I would say about him. Dude, you have got to be better when the play is not coming your way. When the play's coming his way, in the run game, he will knock guys out. But if he's backside of the play, he'll take the play off. Can't have it. You can't be Randy Moss. You got to play all the time. And by the way, on interceptions, try showing me an effort. Okay? I don't mind the shit talking. Those guys all do that. I don't care about that shit. I don't care. Standing on park benches, your coach wants to be a fool. You want to do all that shit. That's fine too. I don't care. It's all good. It's all right. As long as you're winning, I don't care. When it becomes counterproductive, I start caring. But you got to be better when the play's not coming your way. He gets a little lazy out there. And I think that's why he said the other day, I want to be a better and complete football player. And to me, that's where I got that from too. Because when you watch him and the play goes front side and he's on the backside in the Z, he takes the play off. Dude, you're a decoy because you're making $25 million and you're A.J. Brown. Think about what Randy Moss used to do to his offense all the time. When the play didn't go his way, dude, you knew that cornerback could slide over and cheat because that play wasn't coming back to him because Moss took plays off. I can't stand when players run half-ass routes because they know the ball isn't coming to them. That's the mentality of the wide receiver, Tone. When you run every route, and see, this is what Devontae does better than AJ. Devontae runs every route like it's coming to him. Okay? And that's what makes him more of a professional. When you run every route the same, it makes it harder on the defense to predict where the ball is going. It's right. It's a common issue. One of the things that you used to watch when you watched with Randy Moss, or you watch with any great wide receiver, especially the ones that take plays off when the play's not coming to them, and you watch them backside, what you would do is you would hear your safety, and then the safety would communicate down to the linebacker, and then the linebacker would communicate down to the defense. And you know what that would do? When I know that wide receiver like A.J. Brown, that thing's not coming front side to him, and he's on the backside, what do? You slide the front. And what you do is you put your offense in a poor situation because you know why? He's tipped the play off. He's tipped the play off. That's right, Steve. Devontae Smith is committed on every single play that he plays football in. Running back, DeAndre Swift. Find your role. Health. You got to find a role. What's his role going to be? I don't want it to just be, well, here's 200 carries. See what you can do. You're not utilizing him enough if you're just going to go down that one ruler lane. He's a really good pass catcher. He's good. I'll tell you this. You know the difference between him? Watch him on tape. YouTube him. He doesn't run to contact. Okay? He's got better vision than Miles Sanders does. He's better in open space. Catches the ball better. You use that. If Swift gets 800 yards and 600 yards catching, you won't be able to defend the off. It'll be difficult to defend the offense anyway. But if he's up in those numbers like that, it'd be impossible to defend him. Got to find his role. Jalen will help him find that role. By the way, I want to know what kind of pass blocker he is in the pass game. Is that going to be some? Not everybody wants to do that. Can he pick up blitzes? Does he know complex schemes? That's going to be an interesting component here. You know, you got the best offensive line in the NFL. You sure do. But for me, finding his role until he becomes an established player is how he has to have the mentality. Okay? What's my role going to be? Tone says, Devontae Smith doesn't get enough credit in run blocking situations. It's ugly, but he gets enough push to create space. He commits to everything that takes place on the turf. That's why I want him to get bigger. I don't need him at a $190 slamming into corners or slamming into safeties. Get a little bigger. Hey, he gets in the way right now. And by the way, he doesn't have a problem doing it. You know, I tell you, what I love about him, and again, I think Nolan Smith being on the team has this kind of personality too. I have never seen a kid who came out of college, who won the Heisman Trophy, who's a wide receiver, ever not complain about something. And when he got a goose egg in one of those early games last year, never said shit about it. Never said shit about it. And in today's NFL, I think wide receivers would be okay with this. 14 catches, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a loss. And they wouldn't cry about it. I mean, now Jalen Hurts. Health and patience. His patience. When you're a young player, the game is coming at you fast. By the way, see, when I look at Josh Allen, dude, he needs 10 times more patience. You know, punting is okay. You know, jamming the ball in double coverage versus a punt. What's safer? Punting, field position, turnovers. That's how you win titles. Field position, no turnovers. Throwing into double coverage, making a spectacular play, it's not going to win you Super Bowls. You know what it's going to win you? Criticism. Okay? Patience. The one thing that became evident in the way Jalen ran the RPO is that he, again, I think it was Bruce Arians that I was talking to the other day about this. I've never seen a Wildcat quarterback throw the ball like that. He's a Wildcat quarterback. Like, this is what Sean Payton envisioned Taysom Hill to be. But Taysom Hill can't throw the ball like Jalen. Everyone is looking for Jalen Hurts now. That's why Anthony Richardson was drafted. Anthony Richardson was drafted because why? His great numbers at Florida, they were very pedestrian. They drafted him because they see the kind of shit they can build like they're building in Philly. They're going to take lesser statistical. Get this. Who won the Heisman last year? Caleb Williams, right? Caleb Williams is going to be one of the most sought-after quarterbacks in the upcoming NFL draft. Kid, you got to beat Utah. When I watch Caleb Williams play, can I tell you who I see? Zach Wilson. You got to beat Utah. You got to win the Pac-12. I mean, I don't know. Everyone's good luck. I don't know. I think you got to win games. I mean, I think you got to win important games. And Lincoln Riley's never had a quarterback win significant games for him. Ever. None. Big 12 titles is significant? Okay. It's the worst of the Power 5 conferences because nobody plays defense in that conference. And now you got the Pac-12. Do you know the Pac-12 had the lowest output of draft choices this last April than in the last 30 years? They had 27 players drafted in the top 259 picks. Or the 259 picks. They only had 27 players drafted. The SEC had 69. Who are you playing against? I don't know. Okay? And if you're a defensive football player, you don't play at Southern Cal anymore. Ronnie Lott doesn't go to Southern Cal anymore. You go to Utah and play for Kyle Whittingham. I mean, the great defensive mind of Lincoln Riley. I love that you guys, somebody, what is it, John Ritchie, was touting some bullshit that Lincoln Riley was going to be the head coach of the Eagles. Okay. So really? What does he know about defense? He hasn't had a football team that was a defensive football team in his entire coaching career. I don't know. So when I look at the offense, I would say finding a role for DeAndre Swift, the right guard position, okay? But if you look at the offense, it's the best offense in the NFL. Weapon says Utah, Arizona State, Stanford, UCLA have always gave USC problems. Might as well throw Colorado in there now with Prime. Weapon, I'll say this to you. If you look at the Colorado schedule now, Prime be lucky to win 4 ball games this coming season. It's a shit hire. He should have been the Auburn head coach. Okay? The reason that he put all those players in the portal, they won 1 ball game last year. He's got a big-time hole to dig out of. I think Caleb will end up with McVay in LA. That means that the Rams will suck and they'll be tanking. Okay? So all I'm saying to you is that Hugh Freeze gets the job at Auburn because of his great qualifications of working a porn site. And you send him to like one of the worst programs in the country. That thing hasn't been good since McCarthy was there. Was it Bill McCarthy? They haven't been good since they won the national title back in the day. When Eric Bieniemy was there, actually. All right, I got to take a timeout. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the